Many of us have a lot of house plants that we take outside for the summertime because they really, like that. For example, the palm tree that I have, I set outside and it really enjoys that and grows real well. But then when you get ready, before the temperature drops down, you need to get it in. There are some things like the palm tree that if you leave it out after the temperature drops below 40, the water in the leaves and so forth freezes or gets real cold and destroys the cell structure. There are other things that can tolerate being down in a little bit of frost. My Christmas cactus I like to leave out until they get a little bit of frost because that kind of stimulates them then to go ahead and to bloom. And the Amaryllis the same way. I usually wait and let a frost do it. You can force the Amaryllis if you want it to bloom, but by Christmas time you need to start the 1st of September. Yes. And just dig it up, or to take the pot and lay it over on its side and let it go dormant, or there's forced dormancy. Then when the leaves turn brown, you need to cut it off and then put it into storage. It has to have storage for at least 6 to 8 weeks in order for it to bloom again. So to get that done and get it bloomed by Christmas, you got to start in September. But I like to wait because I have a lot of other plants that I have blooming at Christmas time, so I wait and let them do naturally, then put them outside.
Well, I start with the 1st of September. Remember, occasionally we will frost by September 10. So I try to get them in. I've got so many, and it takes a while to get each plant ready. And we have the materials here to show you how to do that. And some of the ones, like the coffee tree over there, mustn't go below 40 because the cell walls break and then the leaves turn brown. They might survive one night, but it will go in the greenhouse. And it's a fun thing. It has all those leaves, and this spring it suddenly started dropping leaves and scared me. But wherever a leaf dropped, a blossom came out. And now if you get up close, you can see the coffee beans. I'm going to have some coffee pretty soon. First, I wash it. And I've got the hose there. I do everything right here on the patio because it drains real well. I wash it first, and then I look again to see if it has any infliction under the leaves and so on. And we'll spray it. Now anything that you're going to eat, like the coffee tree, you wouldn't want to use a systemic. But last year I had so many scales that I started using the systemic, and I put it in the pot, and systemic stinks to high heaven. So I leave it out here and water it in and leave it out here for at least 4 to 6 hours. The Christmas cactus is just the opposite. In order to get it to bloom, it needs to get almost frozen. Now you don't want to get it down below, say 32, 30. It can probably go to 30 because it's got a high sugar content in those leaves. And leave it out here until the last minute. And I never turn the heat on in the greenhouse until October. The Amaryllis, I will dig them now. I like to have the first frost hit them, but I'm going to start today, and I'll show you how I cut them off. I have them planted outside, and then I put them in the basement and pour vermiculite over them. You can take the pot in. You can either let the tops dry naturally, don't water them, lay them on their side, let the tops dry naturally, and lay them in the basement somewhere. They all have to have a 6 to 8 week rest period before they will bloom again. The cactus, I've had that cactus for 30 years. I brought it back as a little fella from Phoenix, and it has to go in, and it will go under the bench in the greenhouse. It's implanted in almost pure sand. Usually it doesn't need much treatment. I will look it over and see it's in a foreign country. It has no natural enemies in Nebraska, and so it does real well, except it can't stand the cold.
Well, if they like the full sun, then yes, you need to take and slowly. What I do is I take mine and I get them, kind of the same way in the spring, you harden them off and get them so they don't get sunburned. You have to get them a progression. I put it under my deck or put it into a partial shade before I bring them in. And then I try to have things, I have a number of things that I store inside in my walkout basement in front of the window, and then other things upstairs in a big south picture window. Gladys puts hers in the greenhouse. Houseplants that go outside during the summertime need to be progressively brought in. Otherwise, most of those are tropical and they cannot stand cold weather.